Hello, in this tutorial I'll show you guys every single step you can go through when you're trying to color grade your images using Capture One. So Capture One is a software just like Lightroom whereby you can edit or process your raw files and make them look better, and you can even color grade them better and more specifically with the colors and the skin tones, and you can easily match them the best way possible. So in this tutorial, even if you're a beginner out there, you're going to be able to learn about each and every step I go through when I am doing the color grading process in Capture One from the very start to the very end with no steps skipped. So for starters, if at all you may be wondering the version of Capture One I'm using right now, I'm using Capture One 21 right here. As you can see it, this is one of the latest versions for this year. And this is a raw file, and you can see the information right here. It was taken using at ISO 160 at f5 because I wanted to get so much detail in the image, as you can see it right here. Then also the information is embedded right here. It was taken using a shutter speed of 1 out of 400th of a second, and basically that is it. So the next thing I did, or I usually do when I'm doing my adjustments in Capture One, I simply come to the base characteristics just down here. And what I do, I first of all convert this to Pro Standard, and this helps me to eliminate the magentas that are usually embedded in the Canon cameras. So that is my very first step for the color grading process in Capture One. So the next thing after doing that, I simply come to right here to the dynamic range option before I can do any other thing. And if at all you may be wondering why my interface is looking like this and why maybe yours may be looking a little bit different, you can simply have the same interface right here by simply coming to Window and come to Workspace and you come to Migration, and you'll have it right on the right hand side, or like how we do have them in maybe Lightroom or Camera Raw. So that is how I managed to get them, and you can as well customize your taskbar by simply right clicking and you'll have customized taskbar, and you can simply drag and drop icons to this top part right here. So that's why you can just choose whichever icons that you want, but for this I'm just going to leave it the way it is because I will leave the exposure warning right here because this helps me to see the overexposed parts of the image. So after doing that, I come to the high dynamic range option right here. It is below the exposure tab, and the very first thing I do is turning down the highlights because I want to get rid of the overexposed bit, and you can see the red highlight which was there notifying me that this place was over blown out has disappeared. And I also do the same for the whites, just like that. Then after doing that, I don't tamper with the rest of the sliders, and I come all the way down to the level slider to add contrast into this very image. So I'm just going to push in my blacks just like that, and you can see that already makes or adds contrast into the image. Then I'm going to push in my whites just like that, and this already looks nice. I'm just going to push this a little bit more. So I've added contrast into the image. Then after doing that, I have to go back to the high dynamic range option. I'm just going to push up my shadows, slide it around 4, and knock my blacks down a little bit more. Then after doing all that, I'm just going to come and add some tiny bit of contrast because we have already added contrast using the levels in Capture One. And after doing that, you can come to the clarity slider and you add some little bit of sharpening through the clarity option, and that is it. Then in order to compensate for these shadows right here, I can simply push or open up the shadows a little bit more, just like that. I know the image may be looking a little bit overexposed, so we can come to the exposure tab or option and simply drop down the exposure just slightly, because the rest of the exposure is in the skin tone area of the model, which we are going to be tackling next in this very tutorial. So we are done doing the basic adjustments to this beautiful image. So the next thing is going to be handling the color grading for the skin tones and maybe the background right here of the model. So in order to handle all that, we simply have to come to this option which says layers. So like in Photoshop, we always have layers, and also in Capture One, this is the very nice thing of, or the very nice aspect of using Capture One, because you have the ability to use layers to work on the image. So we want to create a new field layer, because that new field layer is going to be containing every adjustment we do in the color grading of this image. For example, on the skin tones or maybe the background. So we don't want to interfere with the background adjustment layer. So I'm just going to come to this plus icon. I hope you can see it, and simply right click and you come to new field adjustment layer, and you can see that it has created this highlighted layer right here, and I'm just going to rename that to maybe color grade and hit enter. So that is the layer that is going to be containing the color grading of the skin tones and the background of this particular image. So in order to do that, make sure this layer is selected or highlighted, and you're going to scroll down just here where it says color editor and color balance, and this is where the magic is going to happen or take place in this very image. So I'm just going to open the color balance option, and you're also going to open the color editor option just right here, so that we can work on these two tabs to color grade this particular image. So here we are in Capture One. So the next thing I want to let you know before we can do anything regarding color grading of this image is make sure you hit the like button. Let me just give you a moment to hit the like button so that YouTube can recommend this video to many people out there. So I'll request you to hit the like button. And when you're done, let's just click in and we start color grading the skin tones of this particular image. So we can see that we have basic, advanced, and skin tones. So like I said, we are handling the skin tones first in this image. So I'm just going to come and I click on skin tone right here. And when you select skin tone, you get this kind of circle and it has no information. But down here we have something like an eyedropper, or in Capture One it is known as the color picker tool. So it is this tool that from which we have to sample the area that we want to color grade in the skin tone. For example, for those that do a lot of beauty portraits, usually makeup may not blend quite well into the skin, and we just want to even out or have those nice and even skin tones in the image. So in order to do that, this is what you have to do. You have to come and click on this color picker tool. So when you select this, you have to come to the skin area. So you have to zoom in and look for the area you want the rest of the image to look like. Yeah? So make sure you come and click on that area that you want the rest of the skin of the model to look like. And for this case, I'm just going to sample an area just right. Just going to sample just right there. And when I click right there, you can see it has sampled for us the colors of the targeted area. And in order to see that we have sampled those areas, remember skin tones usually have yellows, oranges, and some kind of reds and magentas. So in order to see a color sample that we have selected, so this is the color range option. So you can scroll all the way down here and you can see that we have the option that says view selected color range. And when you check this, you can see that it has selected the skin of the model alone. So when you turn this off, you can see that it makes everything back to the default. So I'm just going to come back up here. So we just want to unify the skin tones, and you can have a nice and uniform skin tone for this model. So we have the option which says uniformity. So This is the very first option that I'm going to be using. I'm just going to move the hue of the uniformity up as I'm looking at the image, and I hope you can see that this is really affecting the image in real time. So I'm just going to leave it at around 74, and you can see that this has already transformed the skin tones and it has unified the skin tone, because we had so many of the magentas, for example, on the hands of the model. Then I'm also going to come and I push up the saturation just like that, so that I can have the skin to have that nice and rich tone, and I think that looks fine. So the next thing is going to be coming to the amount right here, and at the amount you can see you can add magentas into the skin tone, or you can easily add greens into the skin tone of the model, but we don't want to do that. Just going to double tap right here or double click to reset. So I'm just going to reduce on the amount just like that, and you can see that the image is now looking really nice. But as we were matching the skin tones, you can notice that it really changed the color of the lipstick of the model. Let me show you guys what I'm trying to mean. You can see this is where we are right now, and this is the before. This is not the original color of the lips or the lipstick, so we are just going to be handling that later on in this very tutorial. So this is where we are right now, and when you feel like that is enough for you, we have to go down to, and before you can go down, the next thing is going to be the basic slider or the basic panel right here. So under basic, we want to tackle the skin tone of the model so that we can have that nice and rich color in the skin tone, and we get rid of this kind of whitish kind of highlights in the skin tone of the model. So remember, we have most of the oranges in the skin tone right now, so come and target the oranges, and under oranges you can simply come and reduce on the saturation of the oranges just slightly, and you can as well turn down the lightness so that you can have that nice and rich skin tone of the model just like that, and I think that looks fine to me. So let's see the progress so far for the color grading of the skin tones. I'm just going to zoom in so that you can see everything in real time. So let me turn this before and after. So this is the after and this is the before. You can see the difference right now. So the next thing is going to be just going to click right there, command minus to zoom out. And after doing that, I just want to tackle the background or the greens, because I feel like they are taking most of the attention from the model. So I'm just going to come under the greens, and I'm just going to hue down the greens. So depending on the look you're trying to go in for, let me see what this does. I think that looks fine, but I'm just going to reduce on the saturation of the greens just like that, but not all, though, just a little bit. And I could do the same for the yellows just like that. And I think taking the yellows down is fine. So there we are right now, and if at all you want to handle the blues in this image, you can come in, maybe get this color picker tool and you sample that color and you click on it, and you can as well play around with the color, or you can go for this kind of teal kind of blue color, and you can as well darken or brighten that color in this image. So I think a brighter color is better, and we can just reduce on the saturation for that top. And here we are right now, and I hope you can see how the image looks right now. So let's see the before and after for the color grading. So this is the before and after, before, after. I hope you can see the change or the difference, but when you feel like it is a little bit of too much of the warm side, you can come and reduce on the warmth just slightly, and I think that looks fine to me. So this is the before and after for the color grading process. I hope you can see the difference right here when I toggle on and off the color grading layer. So the next thing is going to be bringing back the original color of the lipstick, of the model. So if at all you don't want to distort the original makeup color of the models, you can now come and get your eraser tool just right here, and make sure this is selected. And like I forgot to tell you that you can as well reduce on the opacity of the color grading if at all you feel it is too much. So get your eraser tool and you can come and start, yeah, just come and start painting over the lips to get back the original color of the lipstick, just like that. I hope you can see what we are doing right now, and we are just getting back the original color of the lipstick of the model. So usually you don't want to get into trouble with makeup artists. You want the original color, maybe for the contouring, to be the exact one. So that's why I've just decided to eliminate the color from the lips of the model. So basically this is all for the color grading, I should say. And if at all you feel like it is not enough for you, you can come and just now open up the shadows for the color grading. If at all you really want to open up the shadows for the color grading process, so I think that is fine. So let's see a before and after for the color grading. So this was the image before, and this is the after. Before and after. I hope you can see how nice and easy Capture One is. And if at all you don't have Capture One, I don't know what you're waiting for. You really need Capture One in your photography career. So after doing that, you can now export the image into Photoshop to do the skin retouching and fine tuning for the image. So basically, most times, if at all I have few images to edit, I prefer Capture One and I do edit them. It is a really nice software for you guys out there. And after doing everything to the image, you can come right now and you come to image and you come to edit with and you come to Photoshop and simply come. I usually prefer TIFF and I prefer 16-bit because I have a wide depth of information to work with in Photoshop. Every time I select TIFF and 16-bit, I leave it as uncompressed and I leave the rest the way they are, and I come to edit variants and it's going to open into Photoshop in in a few seconds. So basically this is my color grading routine in Capture One. And if at all you have loved this tutorial, don't forget to like this video and don't forget to subscribe this channel. If at all you have been watching from this channel for the very first time, Ronix from Ronix Photography. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in yet more tutorials, and don't forget to keep practicing and keep color grading and keep creating.